finding out about some stuff that's going on in Waco. So we're going to call this Ask an Expert, What's Going On in Waco with Reece Flood. Welcome, Reece.
Yay, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I've known Reece for probably several years now, and recently he presented at A Million Cups Waco about the Alzheimer's Walk in Waco that's coming up on October the 3rd. And his story was amazing, and it really touched my heart because my mother-in-law was a victim of dementia, and I saw this bright, beautiful genius of a woman deteriorate over a 10-year period. And I just always thought there needed to be something. They didn't ever know if it was dementia or Alzheimer's. They didn't ever find out the difference. And it just really touched my heart when I heard your story. So Reece, tell us your story. How did you get involved with the Alzheimer's Walk?
Yeah, well, first of all, the fact that this is called Ask an Expert is a little intimidating because I'm by no means an expert in this field. If you ask me, what are the latest research and studies show about Alzheimer's, I really couldn't tell you. There's a lot going on with the fight against the disease. What I can tell you about is the Walk to End Alzheimer's and my role and how I've become familiar with the walk. But really, I'll back up and tell you a little bit about my story. I was born and raised here in Waco, and I was blessed to be born into a wonderful, loving, caring family. Both sets of my grandparents were very involved in my life throughout my whole life. They helped raise me, basically. As a child, my mother's parents, they lived here in Waco with us, and my grandmother would pick me up from school and my friends and take us home. So really strong relationship with all of my grandparents, all four of my grandparents. Very fortunate there. About 20, 25 years ago is when we started seeing some things happening. Both my mother's mother and my father's father were both affected by dementia. And you mentioned, you didn't know if your mother-in-law had Alzheimer's or dementia. There's actually several different forms of dementia. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, but they're all different. And sometimes they look very similar. But my grandmother, my mother's mother, did have Alzheimer's, and that was diagnosed. And it's funny, at the time, it was like I said, about 20, 25 years ago, it really wasn't talked about. And looking back in time, looking at some of the things that I saw my grandmother doing when it was happening, it was just, the grandmother, she's acting kind of goofy. She's being kind of silly and weird. That's strange. But we didn't diagnose it. We didn't think of it as being Alzheimer's. Looking back on it, you can say, that's probably, that was an early sign of Alzheimer's coming around. But they both went through Alzheimer's, and as a kid in high school and going into college and through college, I watched my parents deal with their parents going through Alzheimer's. And about 20 years ago, we lost both of them, my mother's mother and my father's father, to dementia. And that was tough. And some of the decisions my parents had to make, how to care for it. My father's parents were up in Fort Worth, and we're down here in Waco, so we had to work from a distance to get them taken care of. So that was a challenge. So now fast forward to today, I'm in the hot seat along with my siblings because now both of my parents have dementia. And so we are the ones that are having to make some of those tough decisions about what do we do for mom and dad? What's the right course of action? How do we, make sure they're being taken care of and safe and healthy, especially with COVID-19 happening. So that's how I got involved or became aware of Alzheimer's and dementia. It hit the house. It hit us close to home. So it was a learning experience that I've kind of really grown up with from my early adult years to today. So that's a little bit about my story.
Tell me, what is the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and also what association it's with, Reece?
So, right, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is the biggest fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association, and that is nationwide. So the Alzheimer's Association is established to really support, raise funds, and help families dealing with Alzheimer's, but also raise funds for research. You know, if we're ever going to find a cure for this disease, there's a good chance it's going to come from research that's funded by the Alzheimer's Association. So that's really the purpose, and the dream of the Alzheimer's Association is to see a world without Alzheimer's someday. So the Walk to End Alzheimer's, like I said, is the biggest fundraiser they've got. They have a few fundraisers throughout the years, but this is the big one nationwide. This is the one where they are able to fund most of their budget. The way I got tied in with the Walk here locally, with our local office, is a couple of years ago I had a buddy, and he became the director of the Alzheimer's Association office here in Waco, and he invited us out to the Walk. And I was very unfamiliar with it. And this was just 2 years ago, was my first walk. And I really didn't know what to expect, but I went out there, and I mentioned it before, Christy, I didn't go to support the Alzheimer's Association. I went to support my buddy because I wanted him to know, hey, we care about you. I'm glad you're doing some good work here, it looks like, and I want to support you and your cause. But that's why I'm here. But I went out there to the Walk, and I was blown away just by the experience. It was something different that I did not expect. It is a huge fundraiser, but it's a powerful and an emotional event for those that go, because the ones that do go, those of us that tend to go, have been touched personally by Alzheimer's. And so that's kind of what draws us out there. And that's what makes it such a special event, because you're surrounded by 1,000 people who are all in the same boat. And up until that point, I kind of felt alone. I really didn't talk about it much, didn't share the story. And that's kind of been the history of Alzheimer's, I think, is that it hasn't been talked about very much. It's been kept as a family secret that grandma and grandpa were struggling with this. And it's kind of embarrassing because they're not acting like themselves anymore, and they're making silly mistakes and being weird in public. So let's hide it away and let's not talk about it. But that's what the Walk to End Alzheimer's is. It's the largest fundraiser that the Alzheimer's Association does nationwide.
So tell me what the Walk to End Alzheimer's looked like in 2019, and then tell me what it's going to look like and how it's different in 2020.
Right. So my first year in 2018, the way a traditional walk works is I showed up to be first I went and signed up. I signed up online through the Walk to End Alzheimer's website. And I tagged myself as a walker in Waco. So I'm now part of the Waco Walk. And I showed up on Walk Day and got there kind of early, and there's vendors set up. You have sponsors that have booths set up, and some have games, some have food, some have drinks, some are giving you good information. It's just a cool, festive environment. It's kind of think of, if you like to go to the 5Ks and the 10Ks and the festive environment you see there, that's what you had at the Walk. There's a main stage that's set up with music. Sometimes it's live music, sometimes it's a DJ. We've had both. So there's always announcements and fun things happening from the stage. You've got the vendors over here. You have crowds going on all around you. And it's just a neat deal. Then it's time to start the walk. And the way they started is they had their opening ceremony on the main stage. And what that looks like is they talk a little bit about, why we're all here, why we're walking to end Alzheimer's. One of the things they do is they have a flower ceremony. So when you show up at the Walk, everybody that signed up, you get a flower, and I'll show you this is one I had from the past few years, and they're all different colors, but this is mine. The yellow one, you pick a yellow flower if you are currently caring for or supporting somebody that's going through Alzheimer's. You pick a purple flower if you have lost a loved one to Alzheimer's. You pick a blue flower if you currently have Alzheimer's. And then you pick an orange flower if you just support the cause and you want to see a world without Alzheimer's, like the rest of us. So those are the 4 different colors of flowers. So everybody picks up their flower. They have a flower ceremony where we talk about the flowers, what they mean. And then, before the walk starts, there's a designated piece of land or a spot where everybody can go put their flower in the ground, and it creates this garden. And we call it the promise garden. It's full of all the 4 different colors, and the pinwheels are spinning with the flower petals at different speeds because the wind's blowing. And it's really a neat sight to see all those flowers, because every single flower is a person that's there at the walk, and it represents this crowd that you're in the middle of. And you can look in the garden and say, hey, that's my flower right there, and that's where I fit into this garden of of hope. So we have the Hope Garden, and that's what it's called. And then on the main stage, they pull out one last flower, and it's a different color, and it is a white flower. And the white flower represents our first survivor of Alzheimer's. We haven't been able to give that flower out. That flower has not made its way to the garden yet, but hopefully someday we'll have a Hope Garden full of white flowers. But that's what we're working for. But that's how the walk starts. You have all this festive environment, and they kick it off. And the way they've done it in Waco the past few years is they bring out a little Dixie band that plays some awesome jazz music. It's a local group, little jazz band, and they get you going. They start the walk. We start going. Everybody marches right past this Dixie band. Get you bumping and grooving and then feeling fun. And it's about a 2-mile walk that happens through Brazos Park East. And it's not a race. It's not like a 5K or 10K race. It is a stroll. It's a slow walk. And it's just a chance for everybody to come and be together in some camaraderie through a hard time. But all along the walk, you've got entertainment set up. The past 2 years, we had an Elvis impersonator sitting on one end of the walk, and then you make the loop and you go to the far end. We had a Tina Turner impersonator down there, and we had other performers throughout the way. And it's just a neat, fun environment. And then you get back to the finish line, which is the start line. You just make your big loop, and you're back at the main stage with the music playing, and the vendors are still there. And it's a neat time for everybody. So that's what it looked like the past 2 years that I've been involved with it. Well, COVID hits, and we can no longer gather in person in big crowds like that anymore. So we cannot have our one central location, big mass of people walk and festivities like we used to do. So what we're saying this year is that the walk is not going to happen in Brazos Park East. The walk is going to be everywhere. And what that means is we want you to get out. We want you to sign up to be a walker in the Waco Walk to End Alzheimer's. And then on walk day, which is October 3rd, go for a walk through your neighborhood. Go down to your local park, get on your track, a high school track, and do your walk. Wear your purple shirt and do your walk to end Alzheimer's locally with your own team, with your own family group or office group or whatever your team might be, and just do it everywhere. And so that's one difference, is that we won't all be gathered up in one place. We're going to be walking everywhere with our own individual teams.
That is amazing. And it's on October the 3rd this year. And I have put in the chat and on Facebook to where to go to sign up for it. So tell me, you mentioned a couple of different things. You can sign up as an individual. You can sign up as a group. So you can get an entire family together to walk to end Alzheimer's, because when it happened to us, it didn't just happen to Max and I. He has 9 brothers and sisters. So, I mean, it affected everyone and all the grandkids, and it just trickled throughout the family. It wasn't just one person that it affected. So that's so great that they can do a group. How does the group work, Reece?
Yeah, and you're right. There's a couple of different ways to be a walker. One, like you said, you can sign up as an individual. Just say, hey, I'm on my own and I want to walk and I want to do this by myself. You can do a team, and that's where we see a lot of families sign up as a team. And that's what I did 2 years ago. When I signed up, I created the Flood family team. And so I signed up, my wife signed up, then my brother and my sister signed up and their family. And so we created this Flood family team. And that's what we did. They all came down into Waco on walk day, and we walked as our family team. And that's what you can do with your family. Also, you can do it with your office, with your business, with your church, with your Boy Scout group, with whatever group, civic organization you want to do, whatever group that you're associated with. If y'all want to come together to create a team, you can do that. So you have your individual and you have your team, but you mentioned the groups. Groups is a third option. So groups is a group of teams. And if you go on the Waco, the Walk to End Alzheimer's Waco website page, you can scroll down, you'll see a list of individuals, you'll see the list of teams that have signed up so far, and then you'll see a list of groups. These groups are much larger than a team. So I think you can see on there, Providence Hospital has a group. So different departments are creating their own team, but they're a part of the Ascension Providence group. Baylor Scott White could do the same thing. Different departments could create their own team, but then they all could be part of the Baylor Scott White Hillcrest group. And that's how you can do groups. Edward Jones is a national sponsor, and they have set up a national group. So individual Edward Jones office here and around Waco that want to create their own team, they can join the Edward Jones group. They still have their own team, but now they're part of a much larger group. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. If you're part of an organization that's spread out all over Texas or all over the country, a group might be a good way to go. But if you just have your one, your small team of people, then a team would be a good option to sign up and get involved.
For my people that are live on Facebook, I'm going to share this screen really quick, and I'm going to show them that there are different ways to sign up, that participants, the teams, the groups, and I see these numbers out to the side. What are those numbers out to the side, Reece?
So what we're seeing now is kind of the top 5 list. So the numbers are dollars raised. That's what the fundraising aspect of the Walk to End Alzheimer's. So you'll see there at the top, that's in the teens category, that Flood family, that's our team. We've been pretty involved with this throughout the year. So we've been very fortunate to have some folks donate to our team. And when I look at that, I'm pretty proud of that, but really where that's coming from is from my parents, people who know my parents and remember who they used to be and how outstanding they are, have been compelled to donate. And so we're very honored and blessed that people are remembering us and my family by making donations like that. But you can see other groups that are raising funds. So yeah, so when you click on the list of teams, now you can go down and scroll. You can see every team that signed up.
And they can donate, so our listeners can donate.
That's right, and that's, if you're not comfortable really signing up, say, I really don't want to be a walker, but I want to do something, go through this list of teams. There's a good chance you know somebody that has signed up. Go find them and donate to their team. If you click on a particular team name, you can see the list of all the walkers on that team, and you can pick which walker you want to donate through. And everybody that signs up, if you choose to do fundraising, you set yourself a goal, and so donating towards a particular person's name will help them reach that goal.
That is pretty cool. Elizabeth Rizzo is giving you a run for your money. You better catch up with her.
So I got to tell you how Elizabeth Rizzo did that. Her fundraising technique. It was really cool. As everybody on our family, we have not gone to any one person to say, "Hey, would you be willing to donate to us?" I'm not comfortable doing that. Things are tight. I never know somebody's financial situation. So what we've all done is just say, "Hey, we're doing this. We're walking into Alzheimer's," and we tell everybody and say, if anybody's willing to donate, we'd love to have you donate to our Walk to End Alzheimer's. So what my sister did is let me back up. One thing that helps prevent Alzheimer's, we've learned, is exercise. Just healthy living. Keep your blood pressure in check, cholesterol under control, and exercise daily. So what she's doing is she's making an effort to exercise herself, get herself back in shape. And so she to prevent herself from getting Alzheimer's, because let's face it, our family tree is not great. We've got from the grandparents down to my parents, you feel like it's only a matter of time before it's going to hit our generation. So we want to do what we can to prevent it. So my sister says, for every $50 I raise, I'm going to run a mile. And she just put that on Facebook. And within 24 hours, she had over $2,000 raised.
That is amazing. How many miles is that?
I don't know, but she's taking it very serious. So what she's done is she's created a spreadsheet. She's tracking how many, who's donated how much. And so she says mile 1 is for X, mile 2 and 3 is for Y. And she's running those miles in honor of the people that have donated. And some of the people have donated and say, "Hey, you know what? My dad went through this too, and I want to give you, $10 in honor of him." Or my grandmother went through this. Here's $50 in honor of her. So my sister is running those miles, and she has her list. She knows exactly who she's running for, and who gave that donation to her and why she's doing it. And she's taking it very seriously. But again, it goes back to the kind of person she is, that people are willing to support her, but also my parents, those that remember my parents and want them to to be honored by this donation, you know, it's pretty cool. It's a great strategy, and she's having fun with it, and people are having fun with it, and it's worked out well for her.
That is amazing. I just pulled out my calculator, and that's 40 miles.
Yeah. Now she's not doing this all at once.
Yeah, I'm like, and
but
everything, that's 53.1 miles so far. I'm rooting for you, Elizabeth.
And she's not running it all at once, but she's already started, and she's you know, checking them off, you know, as she goes, and she's letting people know that when she's run their mile. So we're having fun with it.
Wow. And using the power of social media. I mean, that's where everybody's at right now, is on social media, and for her to utilize that and use it for good, that is amazing. I'm going to check her out as soon as we're off of here.
Yeah, for sure. And also it helps people who aren't here locally in Waco. You know, we're getting donations from across the country, from family out on the East Coast and all over the place. And, you know, former coworkers that have moved on to different locations. We're still connected to them, and they care about us and what we're doing here. And so social media is a great way to get the word out.
So how are you going to up your game to get up there with Elizabeth, Reece?
That's tough. I don't know. I don't know if I have 50 miles in me, but I got to come up with something good. Something else, like, for instance, other teams are doing other fundraisers too. Yesterday, Emerald Cottages is a retirement community here in town, and yesterday they had a Frito pie sale for lunch. And yesterday was kind of the first cool, cold-ish day we've had around here.
It was
great Frito pie weather. So I went by and snagged me some Frito pie and a Coke and a cookie, and it was really good. It hit the spot. But that's a very creative way. It's a fun, easy way to have a fundraiser, but every dollar they raise is going back towards their team for donations.
That is amazing. Now, I see that you guys do have a goal. What's your goal for the Waco team the Waco group for the Walk To End Alzheimer's?
So the past couple of years, under normal conditions, we were raising in the $120,000 to $140,000 range, which for Waco, compared to other, you know, communities that are having the same event. Remember, this event happens all over the country, in different cities and different states. Waco's numbers are really pretty impressive compared to a Dallas or a San Francisco or wherever. We've done really quite well. And so based off those numbers, before COVID hit, we said, all right, we want to set a goal for $150,000. We've come close the past 2 years. That's our goal. And if we really push, we can do it. And so when I came in as coach, I thought, that's a lofty goal, but you're right. I do think we can do it. If we implement a few strategies to help us get there, I really think it's an attainable goal. But then COVID hit. So you'll see on the website, the goal is still listed as $150,000. We know in today's environment that may not be completely attainable. We're still shooting for the stars, absolutely. But we understand that people who have participated in the past may not be in a position to do so this year. This pandemic has really had an economic impact on a lot of businesses, a lot of sponsors we've had in the past. So we know we're not going to get the participation level we've had before, but we're still hopeful that people will get on board and get involved. And maybe people who haven't joined up in the past or really didn't know much about it, maybe this is the year you dip your toe in the pool, test it out, see what it's all about. But yeah, the $150,000 is listed as our goal, but we understand the challenges we've got right now.
But people don't have to donate hundreds of dollars. They can just donate $1 or $10 to the individual teams, right, Reece?
That's right. And really, there's really two aspects to the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And the dollars are one of them. Absolutely. This is a fundraiser, and the idea is to raise as much funds as we can to go towards, care, advocacy, and research dollars and beyond. So that's why we're having this event, is to be a fundraiser. So the dollars, yes, those dollars matter. The other thing that matters and that we really want to see is participation. Sign up to be a walker. Even if you don't raise $1, your signing up tells us that you care about the cause, that you too want to see a world without Alzheimer's. So we want as many people to sign up, even if you don't do any fundraising on your own, even if you don't make a donation, because those numbers matter. When our folks at the Alzheimer's Association are down in Austin, or they're up in Washington, D.C., and they're talking to our local legislators about, we want to see some government funding and research towards this disease, we can point to this walk and say, hey, look at Waco, Texas. Look how many of your constituents care about this enough to engage in this event. So yeah, dollars matter. We want fundraising, but also we just want you to get involved. Sign up to be a walker and do what I did. I signed up 2 years ago. I really was not at all interested in doing any fundraising, but I signed up and I just threw it on my Facebook page and it said, hey, I did make my own $10 donation. That's how I started, was with a $10 donation. And then people started piling in. And it really shocked me how many people I knew in my circle cared about this enough to make their own donation. So I was probably the lowest donor of all the donations I got. I was probably the smallest one that first year, and it's just grown from there. It's snowballed. So if you want to, if you are on hard times and you're not really to make the financial step towards donating towards the Walk to End Alzheimer's, that's fine. Sign up as a walker. Just let us know you care about it and get involved in that way.
That's amazing. And the Walk to End Alzheimer's in Waco and nationwide, all of them are on October 3rd, right?
But no, they're spread out. They're usually around October. So the Waco one is going to be on October 3rd. Uh-huh. There are some walks in the country that have already happened up I think, in the Northwest. So they're kind of scattered usually through September, October, and November. So our Waco walk is going to be October 3rd. And I did want to mention one other thing about Walk Day. One twist we've had, since we can't gather up in person, we can't have our in-person main stage ceremony. We're doing a virtual main stage. So there's going to be a website people can go in on Walk Day, and they can see that ceremony. It's going to be recorded. We've got Fox 44 is one of our local sponsors, and Mike LaPointe over there is going to do a lot of the recordings and the ceremony for us. We've got some other folks involved in that too. But also, I mentioned the flower garden before. Since we can't have that and people coming and picking up a flower and putting it in the ground, we're going to have a drive-through flower garden set up, Promise Garden. And so we're going to set that up over at Providence Village. There's an old helicopter landing pad that's no longer being used, and it creates a great drive-through, kind of a U-turn path that we can set up. So we are going to go out there. So we've got some volunteers that are going to set up a lot of the flowers, because that's one of the highlights, is getting to see that and feel that experience. So we'll have that set up for people to drive through, and that's what's happening nationwide. No large groups of people gathering for a walk, but the drive-through Promise Garden is going to be set up nationwide. Here's the cool thing that I'm really excited about, that our Waco Walk Committee has come up with, and which I think is brilliant. Waco is having a car decorating contest. That's not happening nationwide. That's happening only in Waco, and there's a prize involved in that too. So it's fun, but you can also get yourself a little prize. So if you sign up to walk as a team, if your team decides you want to decorate your car and drive through our Promise Garden, you can do that, and you'll be signed up to enter the car decorating contest. The way you sign up is you snap a few pictures of your car, post it on Facebook with the right hashtags, and that'll get you some points. That'll get your name in the hat. Depending on how many likes you get on your post, that'll get you another entry into the contest. This contest itself is sponsored by Allen Samuel Chevrolet, and they are the ones that are providing this prize for us, and we really appreciate them stepping up and being a great sponsor for us there. But if you go take a test drive of one of those vehicles, that's going to get you another entry in the hat. So there's a lot of ways to participate. The contest is going to last a week from Walk Day to the following Friday. We'll be tallying up the points, and at the end of that week, we'll announce who the winner is. And you're looking at getting a $250 value prize for participating in our car decorating contest. So That's a neat twist. This is something fun to do here in Waco. That's not happening across the country, but I'm proud of our team for coming up with the idea and putting it in place and getting it implemented. So, but that's what's happening. Make sure you not only walk, but come drive through our Promise Garden, check it out, and see what it looks like if you've never seen one before.
So it's October the 3rd. How can they sign up, Reece?
So that website that you just shared, that's where you sign up. You can either join a team or you can create your own team, and it's super simple. It's pretty user friendly. All you need is your name and an email address, and that's really it.
How much does it cost to sign up?
Doesn't cost you a thing. Again, so there's no cost to be a part of this event. We just want you to participate. So when you do sign up, a little while after you sign up, you're going to get a packet in the mail, and you're going to have, since we're not doing the flowers for everybody this year, they are sending out these flags, and these are flags that you can put in your yard. I got 6 flags in my packet. My wife signed up, so she got 6 flags in her. My son signed up, so he got 6 flags. So our yard's about to be filled with these flags. You'll be able to find my house real easy with all these flags. But you're going to get that just for everybody who signs up is going to get that. That's just part of our thank you for being a part of our event. If you do happen to raise some money and you get $100, if you raise $100, you're going to get a T-shirt sent to you in the mail. And there are other thresholds behind that. If you get $500, you become a champion, and that's what this sign behind me right here. That's a yard sign that we'll put out in the yard, but in this medal, you become a champion. You're recognized in that capacity, and there's more and more beyond that. So if you just want to sign up to walk, it's free, it's easy. You'll be listed along with every other person that has signed up to walk, and you'll get some yard flags to stick out and celebrate. And then if you decide to do a little bit of fundraising, great. That's just the gravy on top. But we just want you involved. We just want you to be a walker right now.
So for my listeners on the podcast, do they just need to Google Walk to End Alzheimer's in Waco?
That's a super easy way to do it. The Walk to End Alzheimer's website, there's a national website. And if you happen to land on that or any other walk, there's a tab on there that says find a walk near me. And if you click on that tab and type in your zip code, you can navigate your way and find the Waco Walk to End Alzheimer's page.
That is awesome. So definitely October the 3rd, go online, sign up, get a few people to donate, help Waco get to that $150,000 goal that they want. I think you can hit it.
Well, I think we can too. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. And I'll throw one more thing out there. When I became a chairman this year, along with my co-chair, Anna Hoffman. She had been doing this previous years, but when I signed up, I want to look back. And the past 2 walks I've been involved in were awesome. I really enjoyed them. So I want to say, okay, where's this activity coming from? Who's been signing up for the walk in the past? And I've noticed there's two distinct categories. You have the health industry, senior care living facilities, memory care units, those that are involved in this Alzheimer's world all the time. They see the need, they see the importance of finding a cure and getting a fix. So they've been involved for a long time. And then you have family groups. Grandma has Alzheimer's, so our family is going to create a team. Dad's got this, so our family is going to create. So you have the health industry and you have families. But I noticed there wasn't much involvement outside of those 2 pockets from our community. So there are a ton of groups in Waco, businesses, churches that really haven't gotten involved yet. And schools, if a local school district wanted to make a large group, and each campus wanted to create a team within that large group, and then teachers or administration wanted to sign up as a walker on their campus's team, part of the larger group, that would be huge. We would get to our numbers real quick. There's a ton of opportunity out there for people who have not been involved before, probably because they maybe didn't know about it. And this is their chance to get involved and help us get to those numbers.
Well, I want to challenge the business owners that listen to this podcast and the business owners that are on the Facebook Live to sign up and get a team together and then group together as Waco business owners. This is one of the reasons I love Waco, is because the business owners here love helping out the community. And this is one way we can help squash this terrible disease.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I've noticed, because I've been involved in a few different nonprofit groups here in Waco, and Waco is a very giving and a very generous community. It really is. And, we've had nonprofit directors, move from out of state to come take over a position here locally. And they're blown away with how giving the people of Waco are. So you're right. If a business owner wanted to get involved, I think a lot of folks who are in the business world here in Waco do care. They want to see, contribute in some way to help us find a cure and find some relief from this Alzheimer's disease. Business owners can do that from a cost standpoint. You could almost do it for free. In fact, you can do it for free. It just depends on how much you wanted to give, but then give your team, your employee base, your customer base the opportunity to make a donation under your name, a part of your team. What a great community outreach that would be for any business owner. And if you happen to be in a business where you have, say a restaurant or a bar, or you have a place where people come in and can be served, on walk day, encourage your team to go out for a walk and then come to the after party at your place.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Now, before I end my interviews, I always like to ask people a fun question. So, Reece, if you were stranded on a desert island and all of your human needs were met, and you could take 2 luxury items with you, what are the 2 things you would take with you, Reece?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question, and I'd have to think about that for a little bit. Luxury item.
2 luxury items, because it's a desert island.
It is a desert island. I like comfort, so I'm assuming on the desert island I've got some good weather and some nice tropical breezes, so a hammock would be pretty nice. I'd have to do that. And then music. I gotta have some music. So my Spotify playlist is coming with me.
That is awesome. Well, Reece, thank you so much for being on really our first ever What's Going On in Waco under the Ask an Expert podcast with Sometime Spouse. I can't wait to help out and share this information about the Walk to End Alzheimer's on October the 3rd.
Awesome, Christy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sometime Spouse, for letting me come on and talk about this a little bit. And yeah, if you have any questions, just go check out the website. There's a ton of information there about what we're doing this year. There's good contact information if you have specific questions and want to talk to somebody at the Alzheimer's Association. It's a great resource for you.
Awesome. Thank